let's get started. So, what we're going to talk about for this unit is loops. And loops are just like wrapping birthday presents. Not Christmas because it's not December yet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. So, what we're going to do is you're going to have the code that you want to execute, like print this, and then maybe you will print that, right? And then maybe you will g dot draw something. Then, I don't know, 0, 0. Okay, so you have all this code, right? You all good with that fact so far? Okay, so we kind of did this already with the ifs, but what we're going to do is I'm going to write code, and then I'm going to select the code that I want to do lots of times, and I'm going to surround it with curly brackets. Okay? You'll follow me so far? So I have the code that I want to do multiple times, and I'm going to surround it with curly brackets. And then, up here, I will put the loop.
So you just put loop?
Well, I'm going to show you how to write loops. They're pretty detailed. But there's 3 types of loops, and so we'll cover one today, one Wednesday, and one Friday. Like, you only have to do one per lab.
Okay.
So, today's 4 loops. But we're going to do lots of practice. Okay, but the idea that you need to catch for this is that we are going to gift wrap our code. You see how we wrapped it in little brackets? Right? Do y'all see this wrapping idea? Okay, so you're taking the code that you want to do multiple times, and you're going to wrap it in these brackets every time. Make sense? Okay, and this we'll talk about today. But every time you're going to wrap your stuff in brackets, and if there's no wrapping, it's only the first line. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. Okay, watch. First, let's talk about a for loop. So we have for. So it'll always have the word for. You'll actually type the word for. And then you have 3 statements. Actually, 2 statements and a condition. But okay. This right here is your starting code. It happens at the beginning of the loop and never again. Good?
Yes.
Okay. This is your condition. And when false, the loop stops. Okay? So we have to be able to tell our loop, this is when I want you to stop. And then here, this right here, is after the code is run. And then what goes inside the package? The code. Yeah, right.
Wait, do we like this?
Well, you can if you want.
Oh, like on the thingy?
Well, I gave you a packet with some paper, or like this is in your notes. I'm just kind of walking you through it. And then here is the code. But you guys usually tend to do things better while we're doing it, so let's get NetBeans up and running, and we'll just do that. Sound good for y'all? Okay. All right. So we made an applet called For Loops Picks,
And now we're going to write a for loop. The first thing that we're going to do, though, is we're going to declare we're going to write the first time around. Like what you want it to do the first time around. Got it? Okay, so let's draw a randomly placed oval. Sound good? Okay, so I'm going to have int x and y, right? And then I'm going to have random. What should I call my random today?
No.
Bear. Random bear. And so then we will take my x and my x's will go from 0 to, I don't know how far. Really? Let's go bigger than that.
500.
500. That's
550.
500 will be good.
575.
Fine, we'll do y to 575. Which it really won't go up to 575. What's the highest that the x's will go? The highest these will go is 499, right? Because it's 0 all the way, right? And this will go from 0 to, this will go from 0 to 574.
Oh.
So far, so good. Right? Okay. So now we're going to draw an oval. I want to put it at x, y, and then I'll make it like 15 by 20. And you should, when you run it, you will find it drew an oval at a random spot that is 15 by 20. Right? Everybody's good so far? Yes? Okay. Which of these statements would I like to do over and over and over again? I need to draw the oval over again, right? What else do I want to do over and over again? I want to pick my numbers again, right? Because if I don't pick my numbers again, it'll just draw it on the same spot. Because it'll be in the same place every time. So here, I want you to just copy this down, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. That's a 0.
Wait, that's I equals 0?
Okay, so here's how this works. The starting statement is a statement right here. So the first thing that we'll do is it will make an integer called I, and it will set that number equal to 0. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you make an integer, you call it I, you set it equal to 0. And then, is 0 less than 5? Yeah. So we'll now do all the code that we gift wrapped, right? We'll do all this code, and it will come up here, and it will add 1 to 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Is 1 less than 5?
Yeah.
Do it again. Add 1, and you now have 2, right? Is 2 less than 5? Do it again. Add 1. Now we have 3. Is 3 less than 5? Yes. Do it again. Now we add 1. We get 4. Is 4 less than 5? Yes. Do it again. Now we add 1. We get 5. Is 5 less than 5? No, it's equal to, so we stop the loop. So then you have 5 circles.
What the?
Because 5 times it picked a random X, it picked a random Y, and then it drew the circle, or the oval.
So, what happens if we change the 5
Mr.
and
Bear,
make it
can I
into
tell
a 7?
that really quick, please?
Okay, so, amazing question. What happens if we change this? Let's say, so when it was 5, it drew how many circles? 5. So what if I change this to 50?
50 circles.
Hey, let's see the 50 circles.
Oh my Jesus. My Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Or,
500.
what if I do 5,000?
Announcement is for teachers who have seniors in their classes.
Alright, so the natural question was, if I change this 5 into like 5,000, then it will draw, I think it will draw, I don't know if I ran it or not. There we go. It will draw 5,000 circles. Right? Everybody good with me so far? Okay. And you guys will do something similar to this tomorrow, and I don't really want to, mess with it too much. So I'm going to show you a cool effect. Let's say that I have code that I want to comment out together. So you can highlight all the code, and do you see this little comment button on your screen? It has 2 slashes.
Yeah.
I'm going to press that button, and everything that I've typed now turns into comments, so it won't run. So I can now write like a second program in this program. So, right?
You have to highlight it.
Yes, you highlight everything you want to be commented out, and then you press the comment button.
Where?
Right there.
Oh.
So we're going to start a second program, and I'm going to create 5 integers. Red, green, blue, X, and Y. Oh. And you have to do GR because G is already the graphics. So we have my 3 colors, red, green, blue, and X and Y. I'm also going to need a color. I'm going to call it my color. And a random. We'll use bear again.
Yay.
You all with me? Okay. So now, I will start off by having a value for my X and my Y. X equals 0, Y equals 0. Okay, so I set my X and my Y to be 0. They won't be 0 for very long, but I just want to have it for just a minute. I'm going to make my red a random color. And since colors can go from 0 to 255, then I'm going to do next int 256. And I'm going to do the same thing for the blue, and the green. And then, I will say my color is a new color with this red, this green, and this blue. And finally, I will do g.setColor. My color. So this will create a random color, and now I'll do G dot fill a rectangle, and I will make a. I'll put the position at X, Y, and I will make it a 10 by 10. So in the top left corner, you will have a randomly colored block, which is okay, but we're going to make it a little cooler. I'll give you a minute. All right, so I want to do this. I want to do this set of what is this, 6 lines. I want to do these 6 lines repeatedly. So I'm going to hit tab so that they are set apart, and I'm going to wrap them in little curly brackets. So this is the code that I want to do multiple times. I did put a curly bracket. So I'm going to start with my x.
Oh, I forgot my son disappeared. All right, okay.
It's going to be x equals 0. And I'm going to do this as long as the x is less than 600. And instead of adding 1 every time, I'm going to add 10. So that when you run this code, it will draw a line of squares. Now you'll notice that I didn't put int x here, right? Because I had already declared my x up in the statements. Does that make sense? So I already had an x, the computer already knew about x, so I didn't have to declare x right here. And if I wanted to, I could change them all to y's. Just this first line, just these 3 x's, I change them to y's, and then I get lines that go down. So the next thing that probably would be asked is, well, what if I wanted to repeat that whole process again as well, right? So that I could draw a full grid of randomly selected colors. So the things that I want to do again are this. This process I want to repeat over and over and over and over and over again, right? So I'm going to hit tab on it to set it apart. I'm going to put my curly brackets here. And then I'm set up to write another for loop. This one starts x is equal to 0. It'll ask if x is less than 600, and as long as it is, it'll continue to draw. It'll continue to run that loop. And then every time, it doesn't just add 1 to x, it adds how many to x? It adds 10, right? So that plus equals, just add 10 to x. So that when you run it, you get that. Because because I drew all the rows over and over and over again, right? So I'm picking a process that I want to repeat, and I'm putting it inside a loop.